I'm Ellie Cornell. I'm proud to have played Rachel Carruthers in Halloween 4 and 5. I'm so thrilled to be on the Don't Go There podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast, powered by the Roll Up Network. Just want to thank our fans and listeners. I really appreciate all the support. Super excited for the interview we have upcoming. We are joined by another legend of the business this evening. Known best for her starring role as Rachel Carruthers in Halloween 4 and 5, was most recently in Dead Reckoning. Actor-producer, Miss Ellie Cornell. Ellie, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Hi, good. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
No, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is awesome. We like to start all of our interviews out just by asking, what is it that got you into acting? You have a bit of a history with Bill Murray, if I'm correct.
Yes, that's true. So I wanted to be an actor my whole life, and I studied it in college, got a degree in theater arts, and moved to New York, waited tables in Atlanta, moved to New York with a pocket full of money so I could kick off my career. I got an agent, and in the process of my early New York years, I became friends with Bill through a friend. She was dating his little brother. So Bill and I became friends, and he introduced me to Shakespeare and Company, which is a professional Shakespeare company, and that really changed the trajectory of my career. So I was studying Shakespeare in the summer. Then my agent sent me to LA, and I booked Halloween 4. So I really owe it all to Bill.
That's incredible.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know it's a nutty story, and no one would believe it, but it's true. We hung out for a while, and he was tremendous, just very, very supportive, and super, super good guy.
Awesome.
We just had the amazing Miss Kathleen Kenmon on, your co-star in Halloween 4.
I love Kathleen. Yeah.
Oh, she was incredible. She talked about how fun the set was on that movie. I know your film debut was in Married to the Mob, but Halloween was your first starring role, I believe. Danielle Harris was in the same boat. Can you talk a little bit just about your experience making that movie, The Return of Michael Myers?
Yes. So back to Married to the Mob. That's actually one of the ones that Bill Murray brought me in on because they were doing the casting, and I met Jonathan Demme, who directed it.
Oh,
and
okay.
Bill took me in, and so that's how I got into Married to the Mob, which was great. So Halloween 4, Danielle Harris and I spent almost the entire length of the shoot together on set in Salt Lake City. We had a lot of days. Half of them were night shoots, and the rest were day shoots. And the whole cast got along famously. Sasha Jensen, Kathleen. It was just Dwight Little, who was our director, really made it a cohesive, fantastic way to work. And especially when you're doing really long hours and you're going to the set when most people are going home for the day, it's challenging, and it takes a lot of trust and hard work, and the whole just everybody was fantastic. We all got along really, really well, and that's rare. I think I don't know.
Right.
So funny is that Sasha and I. Okay, so after Halloween, when it came out, I ran an ad in the trades in like Variety and Hollywood Reporter, just kind of thanking Dwight and the producers for casting me, and Mustafa Akkad thanking them for casting me as Rachel Carruthers. And a casting person saw that ad because it had my picture on it, and they said, "There's our girl for this after-school special." So I got cast straight away in this ABC after-school special. And who was my co-star? Sasha Jensen. What are the chances? Isn't that weird? We got
that's
set,
awesome.
We're like, you got to be kidding me. I know. It was so cool. Anyway.
That's fantastic. And I don't think I'm speaking out of place when I say that, Halloween 4 is widely considered one of the best in the franchise. And, you can really tell the writing from Alan McElroy, really focused on that story and really trying to give it an arc that I think horror fans really appreciated, and that's missing from a lot of horror movies. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yep. Yes, 1,000%. And what I have found over the years of, with horror fans and stuff is that they're an intelligent bunch. And if you dumb down to the audience, they're onto you. And it's really doing the audiences a disservice by not giving them a great script. And I was so pleasantly surprised when I read Halloween 4. I'm like, this is a real, just like you said, the arc was clear. You got behind the characters, and they weren't typical.
Right.
That was the best news of all, was the fact that, because, let's be honest, there's a lot of scripts out there that are not great. And we were all really, really lucky to have gotten involved in this. And I think it helped relaunch the franchise, quite honestly, because, as you know, Halloween 3 was really off the plot line, and the fans weren't ready to say goodbye to the whole storyline. So I think they very wisely, kind of resurrected the whole storyline and got reinvested in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had tons of people on the show from different franchises, but Halloween has always seemed to be one franchise that we've had a hard time, having different people on. And we've had Sandy Johnson from the original, but you're the first one that I've been able to actually ask this question to. And I know you didn't get a lot of screen time with him, but how was it working with the great Donald Pleasance? Do you remember any experiences?
I know it was tremendous. And he was great. We worked together in both 4 and 5, and he stayed at a different hotel, so it wasn't like we commingled outside of the working day. He was private, very private, and
right.
Obviously we were a very young cast, so we all hung out when we could, off the set. But he was just, the quintessential professional. He arrived prepared, and he wasn't a diva, and he was gentle and sweet and respectful. I never once felt like he gave any of us attitude about anything. He was lovely. And what a huge, huge honor that was to get screen time with him. It really was. I know that there's a big, finally, a coffee table book that someone in the UK is putting out about the career of Donald Pleasance, because, boy, it was wide-ranging and long.
Right.
So so keep an eye out for that.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Last Halloween question. I'm sure you get them all the time. But from what I understand, they agreed to change Halloween 5 for you some, once you read the script. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. So when this is so obvious, but when you do a franchise like Halloween, like I knew by reading Halloween 4, and then we shot it, that my character lives through the end, which is really, really unusual. And same with Daniel Harris's character, Jamie.
Right.
So of course we shot it. Everything's great. Mustafa was very excited. The producers were very excited, and Dwight was very excited. So it came time to do the sequel, and I got the script in the mail, and I kind of sat down. I'm like, okay, where is it? Where's the death scene? I just, you just know it's coming down the pike because that's the formula,
Right.
And already the script was a different flavor. Like it just had a different sensibility to it. And it was written that my character would get scissors down the throat. And I just thought that was too graphic she was like the girl next door, but there was I feel like there was a dignity to her. Like she was, intelligent. She was a fighter. She was,
right.
She would have done anything to protect Jamie. And I just felt like if they're going to take her out, then it needs to be in a more respectful way. So that was that. And they changed it for me. And it's funny because, sorry, my daughter's alarm's going off. But years later, when they saw how well Halloween 4 did, Mustafa, I don't do many conventions, but I did see him at one. And I think it was the 30th anniversary maybe, or the 25th. But he pulled me aside and said how sorry he was that that he killed off my character, because he didn't realize after the fact that it would, that the audiences would resonate so well with her. So I thought that was really sweet. He didn't have to tell me that.
Right.
That was sweet. After Halloween 5 in '89, you took a bit of a break from Hollywood before coming back in '98 with the comedy Free Enterprise. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I took a huge break to have a family and, just have some time away from show business. And we had a house guest that gave us a script, and we fell in love with it. So we cast. It was written for William Shatner, so we cast William Shatner in the lead role, and he agreed to do it. And we shot Free Enterprise. It was really, really fun. It was a small independent film, but really well written, and just lots of great cultural innuendos that only Trekkies would understand and things like that. It was just really fun, and he was amazing, just so hardworking, so professional. You're never quite sure what to expect when you have people of that stature on set, but
right.
He was fantastic, and we made a really fun little film.
Anyway, yeah, I was lucky enough to meet Mr. Shatner 2 years ago when he came down to Pensacola, and you've always heard these things about him in the media. Yes, and he was tremendous. He was very professional, like you said, and just was super nice guy. I got nothing but great things to say about him. Yeah, he was awesome.
I mean, he was really funny and kind of self-deprecating, and I felt so. Here's the thing, all the things that I've done, whether it's theater, TV, or film, I've been really, really lucky. It's been nothing but a crazy positive experience. So, knock wood, I'm just super lucky. And we formed a production company after we made Free Enterprise, and the guys just kept making movies, and they'd asked me to be in them. And so I said, sure, I'd love to. And so we shot a bunch of films in LA, and the last one I did, that we shot, it was originally called Alter Rock, and they renamed it to, what did they rename it to?
Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, Dead Reckoning, which is actually a sailing term. So it's because a big part of it takes place on a boat. But anyway, that was really, really fun and a lot of work. And and that was cool because I had been cast to play, there's an actor who I'm really great friends with named John Shea, and John had been cast to play the kind of the DA, and I was originally he was cast to play the father of the lead, and they cast me to play his wife in a pretty small scene. I was thrilled to do it, and I went on a cruise with my family, my extended family. We were somewhere off the coast of Scandinavia, like Helsinki, like out in the middle of nowhere. And Andrzej Bartkowiak, who was the director of Dead Reckoning, called me at 2 a.m. and said one of the leads had dropped out and would I take her place? So I'm like, oh my God, of course, yes, I would be honored, I would be thrilled. And he said, you need to get to a port and come home. And I was like, you don't understand. I can't just stop the cruise ship and hop off. So needless to say, they pushed by a week. They pushed the schedule by a week, and I slipped in there, and it was really, really fun. It was not what I expected at all in terms of, I don't know. I just thought I was going to play a little role, and it ended up being bigger, and it was a blast.
You appeared in a terrific film, Room 6. You've worked with Michael Hurst a few times, including Femme Fatales. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience working with him?
Oh, he's great. He's really creative, really energetic. He's scrappy, I would describe him at. Like, he will get what he needs to get the shot. If you've made movies, you understand, like, you're doing all-night shoots sometimes in really complicated locations. And he just worked really, really, really hard. He's one of the hardest working directors I've ever worked for. And we did a couple things together, and it was always a really positive experience. was always open to suggestions and interpretations, and he was very, very collaborative, and he also kept a really tight set, which is good. It's like he always surrounds himself with good people, which is makes for a much smoother filmmaking experience.
So I heard about this, and I've got to ask you, and you may not be able to talk about it. I don't know. If not, we can skip it on. But there's rumors floating around that you had a directing project lined up where you would direct fellow horror legends and Heather Langenkamp, who we've had on the show and is wonderful, and Danielle Harris, in a movie called Prank. Obviously, that never came to fruition. Is that anything you can talk about? And I wanted to ask you about directing. Is that something you've wanted to move more into?
I have an idea. Okay, so that never came to fruition, but that's okay. It was almost like a dress rehearsal. Like, it got me into that frame of mind. Like, could I do this? I don't know if I could direct, but I definitely have an idea for a film I'd like to make. And the lead happens to, I could definitely do the lead because it fits the storyline. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to work on it and see what happens. But I can't say a whole lot more about it, but it's not horror. It's more like a psychological thriller. But it's fun. It's fun to contemplate.
Hey, we like psychological thrillers too. Those are great.
It would be really, really fun. So it keeps coming up. Like, I can't. It's like the idea is in there. I just need to really sit down and focus and see what happens. But I don't know that I would direct it. That's it seems like it would be a natural segue, but for me, it's a whole different language. And I really respect Danielle for having directed, but yeah, maybe. Never say never.
Absolutely, never say never.
What I'd really like to do is I'd like to do a play in New York, and I think I'm working on a comedy of a friend of mine's in Brooklyn this fall. But we'll see. So
Ellie,
much to do,
Oh yeah, Ellie, we're getting ready to wrap this interview up. But I just want to ask you one quick fun question, if you don't mind, before we have you plug anything. You mentioned earlier that you did a few conventions. We always like to ask all of our guests. We started when we had Lisa Wilcox on, and she's had great answers from Kane Hodder. He had some of the best answers. What's the most memorable experience you had at a convention, whether it be weird or funny or heartfelt, sincere?
I can absolutely answer this. Okay, and this may not translate. I don't know, but I'll just tell you because I think about it a lot, and it still makes me laugh. So, okay, so we had a packed house. It was a Halloween convention. We had cast and crew up on the stage, like everybody. Like, we had stuntmen, we had Dwight, we had Danielle. I think Kathleen was definitely there. I'm not sure Sasha was there, but it was a full panel, full room, right? And someone raised, you never know what questions you're going to get. They are, sometimes they are so random, right? So someone said to me, or someone said to out loud, like to the whole panel, I wonder, okay, remember there was a scene in Halloween 4 where Sasha is on the stairwell and Michael Myers is coming up the stairs and Sasha's character Brady is just screwed. And Michael Myers takes the rifle or, the gun and kind of, does him in with it. Right. And so someone raised their hand and they said, I wonder what kind of gun that was. Like, who cares? Right. So they asked the question and I just raised my hand and I said it was a Mossberg 500 with incendiary shells. And everyone was like, woo! I don't know. They were so impressed that I knew what kind of gun it was. And to be honest, I have no idea what kind of gun it is. That's the only gun I've heard of because I had to use one in House of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
That the Israeli army provided to me. It was a Mossberg 500 with incendiary shells. But it was just the perfect answer. To a random question, you're going to get a random answer. I don't know. That's it.
It's even funnier that nobody knew it was wrong. Everybody was like, yeah.
I know. Everyone's like, wow, that Ellie, she is so smart. Anyway,
I was just going to ask if there was anything else you wanted to plug for our audience. COVID not seemingly going away anytime soon. Is there anything else you want to plug in this wait and see kind of life we have right now?
I have exciting stuff happening in my life and my artistic life. It's too early to tell. I really want to shoot a show with my best buddy in Brooklyn, so we'll see. I think the time is right. Otherwise, let's all just stay calm and I don't know, stay kind. I'm really into kindness.
Hey, amen.
So, seen any of Rob Zombie's interpretations? Should I? I probably should.
Eh.
Here's what I'll say. They're totally different. So just go into them expecting something totally different.
Well, I'm lucky for that reason too, because I feel like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, which started to push the envelope, and Halloween were like the last of their kind where before it got really wackadoozer, before Saw came along, and then it got darker and darker and darker. So I think that's also what appeals to people about Halloween is that it's at least prior to them getting really kooky, is that there was a simplicity to them, kind of like almost like old-fashioned fright. Anyway, I'm flattered that you asked me to join. That was super fun, you guys.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Stay safe and stay sane.
You too. Thank you.
And just want to remind everybody to don't go out there.